Hello everyone, this is Dungeon Master Boba coming at you with another video. This time we're gonna start off with backgrounds about character creation, you know, fleshing out your character's backstory and everything. But first, as I promised, my friend bought me a shirt called Beards of Middle-earth, and I'll show it to you guys. I promised him I'd show it. There it is. You guys tell me what you think about it in the comments, if you like it or don't like it or whatever. But let's go ahead and get started. First off, with backgrounds, they make the character a lot. Before you start playing, your backstory is, you know, your character's life before you. Like, if you're playing Dungeons and Dragons, what was your character before he became an adventurer? Was he, I don't know, squire, a blacksmith, a baker, or what reason did he have for going adventure? And has he been training for it his whole life, like a soldier? Was his parents adventurers? Did he have a friend who was an adventurer? Is he going for wanderlust, for loss of a loved one, to reclaim some family heirloom, some religious artifact? Like, these types of things can really flesh out your character, you know. One thing that people probably overlook a lot is just how important backstories are. And they can add a whole new depth of role-playing to your character. If you wanted to play a character in Vampire, for instance, before he was embraced, let's say that you were a banker, it would make things a little bit difficult for your character after you got embraced, because that, especially if you had to if you wanted to continue to try to keep up your work and stuff, because, you know, most banks are only open during the day, and bankers would have a hard time being a vampire and all, going to the bank and working through the day, and that can add new things for your character. Maybe he loses his job, loses his house, something like that, has to find a new job. It can add like a whole new plot lines like that, or it could be something a little bit more advanced than that, like say your character was part of a gang or the mafia or even the police force or something before he was embraced, and then he has to keep up ties with them, and he can use his new powers to help them. And I believe it even talks about in the book ideas for vampires becoming gang leaders after their embrace and such, which can give a whole new viewpoint and story plots for the storyteller. Back on the subject of Dungeons and Dragons, it particularly with the characters such as a sorcerer and a paladin, and characters who are more born with their powers rather than trained for them. Well, sorcerers and paladins train, but you know, they have to be chosen, like born. Sorcerers develop their powers around puberty, which can be very interesting to detail what happened when your character first developed his sorcery powers. Were people scared of him? Was he scared of himself? Did they treat him well? Did they lock him away? Paladins, did he ignore the calling and then, or did he follow the calling and train in the church and become a paladin? Then maybe he was training to be a paladin, and then some tragedy happened to him and he scorns the gods and forsakes his paladin training because of that. And you know, this is all gives massive story hooks for your storyteller, dungeon master, game master, whatever your game you're running. This works generally for all the games. I haven't played a lot outside of Dungeons and Dragons, and I played a little bit of Vampire the Masquerade and Werewolf the Apocalypse, and I've dipped my toes into Demon the Fallen as well, and Hunter the Reckoning. Those are the games with my experience, and all those games, backstory is massively important, and that just gives you a spectrum of how many games I've played to let you guys know that I know what I'm saying when I say backstories are one of the most important parts about the character. I've spent 3 hours on one session with my players, not with one player. I have done that before. That was kind of a bad idea at the time, but if you have the time to spend a long session with the backstory, go ahead and go for it. But generally it's good to keep it short. But I like doing longer, fleshed out backstories, but you don't want to take them too long, especially if you have other players waiting. The good length for a backstory, I think, would be between 30 minutes and an hour per person if you don't have anybody waiting, or you can go longer if you and them are both okay with it. If you have people waiting, you might want to keep it a little bit shorter unless they're real patient, or you can include them all together into the backstory, which might be a little bit tricky depending on the kind of group you have. But yeah, so there's my views on backstories and character backgrounds and how important they are to the game. Also, my friend, same one that bought me this shirt, I guess he must have been feeling generous or something because he bought me a bunch of gifts, but he bought me this shirt that I'm wearing now, and he bought me game recording software because I really like video games, particularly role-playing games and strategy games, and I do like a few horror games too. So I told him, I went ahead and said, okay, you bought me this, so I'm gonna make some game videos. I'm gonna do it on a new channel. Anyone who's interested in video games, go check that channel out. Even if you're not interested, and if you have the time, I would really appreciate it if you at least try it out. You know, maybe you like it, maybe you don't like it. If you don't like it, no pressure to watch it again. I'm not gonna hold it against you, but I would ask that if you have the spare time to please give it a chance. And as always, leave your thoughts and comments on this video in the comment section down below. If you liked what you saw, leave a like and subscribe. If you didn't like it, feel free to leave a dislike, but the only stipulation is I would like for you to leave in the comments what you didn't like about it. And this is Dungeon Master Bloba signing off. Farewell.